Hey everybody, it's your friend Moonhorse here, with more stories to read to you. It's been a hell of a night, so I'm gonna get into reading stories because that's what makes me happier. So, this is actually a story that was sent personally to me by a wonderful fan named Cameo Stark, who is super kick-ass. And they sent us this, and we're going to read it. They were the ones who sent us the stories of P.T. Beard. So, I'm going to read something about that, and then we'll get into all of this. As the author of the stories following P.T. Beard, I regret to inform you that due to complications between friendships between Watson and Treasurer, I really don't have permission to post part 3 of the tale, since most of it didn't happen to me. I've decided I'd open up a bit about something mentioned in the first story. Due to stories written by another subscriber sharing their traumatic experience, I thought it might be nice to share my own as well. The cast. Cameo, the author. The story starts when I was rather young, 6th grade actually, and ends my freshman year, so there's a lot of change to likes and looks and so on. Vampygirl, or Vampy, or Vamp. My abusive ex-friend who was obsessed with vampires, Wicca, and the dark side of culture. She was tall, on the big side, broad, and very gothic. Softy, Vamp's first victim, who is too far gone to save. She was a grade above us. Blondie, a very mentally screwed up teenage boy who is toxic to be around if you can handle him right. Any other characters aren't really important enough for a preface. So let's start in the beginning. In elementary school, I was stuck in a small school with about 15 students in my grade, who all but one picked on me for being different. Over time, I formed a strong bond with a young girl named N. When I got into middle school, I found out that she had been telling all of my other friends' secrets. This shattered me. I cut her out of my life and decided to go make new friends. Being a lonely preteen, I craved a best friend, and when I saw a tall, edgy-looking girl sitting by herself, my bubbly, innocent self decided she was going to be my new friend. When I sat down, she looked at me. We contrasted. It's weird the things you remember, but I vividly remember what I wore that day. I was wearing a white sundress covered in sunflowers with yellow sneakers, and she was wearing a black band tee and ripped jeans covered in hand-drawn pentagrams. I don't know why I so vividly remember this, but looking back on that day, this is the last day that I was as innocent as I was. I remember when she looked at me, I flashed a big smile, and that's how it started. We talked about books and movies, and somehow got on the topic of vampires. It was near the Breaking Dawn Part 2 came out, and the Twilight hype was insane. Oh, those are my favorite unintentionally hilarious movies. My mother had forbidden me from watching the Twilight movies and reading the book, so I hadn't followed up on it. Even if I had been allowed at the time, I was more interested in reading Nancy Drew. I don't know anything about the books, but I promise you they're not as hilarious as the movie. Those movies are hilarious. So when I mentioned not really knowing what she was talking about, it set her into a long talk about the series. Every day for the next 3 weeks, she spoke on the topic. I just listened, thinking my listening would make her like me more. After 3 weeks, I had become attached to her and started following her around. That's when I made friends with a group of kids who would end up bullying me later on next year. We both sat at the table till Vamp got into an argument with the leader of the group, who we'll call CA. I remember I made the mistake of having an opinion. Okay, I'm going to try to read this as best I can, because Cameo did actually write this in different text formats, but for some reason Reddit's Messenger decided to erase all of those text formats, so it all just looks like a paragraph. I'm just going to read it, and I won't give any voices, since I really don't know who's who. I'm really sorry. I don't know why Reddit does this, or it's a website thing, I guess. I don't know. Look, I don't like Twilight. I think it's stupid. Honestly, I don't give a fuck what you think. Have you read the books? Have you seen the beautiful story? Look, I won't read a story about a pervert and a high schooler with no personality. There are better books to read. What books give you the same content? Nothing the supernatural genre had nothing before Twilight. Oh, that's not the hill you want to die on. Honestly, I think the Vampire Chronicles and Sherlock Holmes vs. Dracula are really good. They're older than Twilight. Cameo, did I ask for your fucking input? What do you know about the supernatural realm? You don't even have an aura like me. I'm a witch and I know about this stuff. Okay. First off, I'm pretty sure everybody has an aura, or at least that's what I was told. And secondly, I'm going to immediately contradict this point by saying auras aren't real. I mean, that's just like magical thinking, and there's no such thing as magic, kids. Except for me. I'm magic. Because I'm a fucking unicorn. I mean, you can see me. I mean, I'm a cartoon, but whatever. I've never been yelled at by a stranger before. I was a goody two-shoes who worked hard to be teacher's pet and made friends, but this shattered me. I was always taught to voice my opinion and add to a conversation. I was also normally very good at stopping fights, but watching Vamp storm off cussing after throwing my backpack on the ground made me run into the bathroom and cry. After a while, stuff like this started happening more if I didn't agree with her. I'd get yelled at when I got to the middle of the year. I wouldn't voice my opinion near her, so I'm sure my vulnerable state seemed like a good idea to try and induct me into her Wiccan cult. In my experience with studying religion avidly as a hobby, I found that Selene, the goddess of moon, has an almost strictly female and almost cult-like following in some areas. Vamp is a very cultish follower. So when she told me that she could change my temperature with magic, the nerd I was got excited. So innocently, I played along. I couldn't feel the magic she spoke of, but being the avid imagination scout my ADD makes me, I could easily whip up fake ones and fake spirit animals that followed us around. Thank you, Moonhorse, if you do. Well, thank you for sharing this. I'm sure at the time, because a lot of these at the time, and some of them even years later, are really rough, but I can't believe somebody yelled at you over Twilight. Look, I will say this. If you've never seen these movies, I can't tell you shit about the books. I didn't read the books. I have no desire to read the books. But I will tell you this. All of you, not just you, Cameo, but all of you who are listening to this, the movies are the funniest goddamn thing I have ever seen. They are so fucking funny. They're unintentionally hilarious, so you have to be the kind of person who can see, like, comedy in really bad movies. I absolutely can. I love them. They're so fucking terrible. I am definitely the kind of person that if they were just like, you know, we're going to rerun some of these movies for a limited time at theaters around you, I'm absolutely the kind of person who would get trashed and watch all of them. They're super fucking funny. So, look, I'm going to point something out here. This isn't really a spoiler. I guess it could be, but mostly it's just this guy's performance. Specifically because you referenced Breaking Dawn Part 2. There's literally a part at the end where there's like this evil vampire counselor or whatever, and he has this voice, and it's the greatest thing ever, because they have like a kid, so they have this little kid who's like part vampire or whatever, some shit, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The whole story is just nonsense. Oh, but I do remember the kid is like a creepy CGI baby that's supposed to look like both of the main characters, but really she just kind of looks like, you know, if somehow Woody from Toy Story became human and also a little girl baby. Really unnatural, very obviously plastic. It's really creepy. But this guy, I don't know what possessed him to give this performance, but I'm so glad he did. Because he says stuff, and he says it in this exact voice. Bring me the child. And then at one point, like, he's looking at this kid and realizes she has powers, and he's just supposed to, I guess, laugh maniacally, but instead of maniacally, he just kind of goes, just like, did the cold wind just go right up your robe? Like, what was that sound? Like, what the fuck is this movie? So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you all for watching. I'm actually probably going to go rewatch these movies soon. Oh, fuck. If you'd like to send me stuff, much like our wonderful friend Cameo did, you can send it to my subreddit. You can PM me from there, too, because I'm always on Reddit. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's cool. I mostly post, like, weird, stupid shit. If you want to support this show, I do have a Patreon, and I also have, like, t-shirts and hoodies and all that shit for sale. Feel free. They're all in the description below. In fact, the background of me talking whenever I do these things, the little Moonhorse icon, that's on a shirt, so you can just get that if you want that. I don't know why I pointed that out. You probably already knew that, but you know what? Fuck it. I did it already, and there it is. Okay, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye!